Hello fellow wargamers and welcome to another Wargame Red Dragon video with me Bubblebox, and today we're going to do a Yugoslavian deck build using the preview press release of the Yugoslavian Finland DLC. This may be subject to change, although from previous experience it is unlikely to change many if any of the stats in this preview version. And what they normally do is let the game run for a couple of weeks, get some feedback and some data, and then do a patch after a couple of weeks of release of the DLC. That's the normal thing that they do, and I expect them not to change that. So without further ado, I have built kind of a deck. It's quite of a rush deck. I've had a quick look through at the units and made this deck, and I'm going to show you this deck and also some of the other more interesting units for the Yugoslavians in the game. So there's the ubiquitous command chopper, which no one ever uses, but just note that the optics now are very good on all the command choppers if you did feel as if you want to use this unit that came in the last patch. Then we have the command infantry, and I've taken a command infantry squad. They do have close quarters combat machine guns for the Yugoslavians, which is interesting. Might make them a little bit more resistant to imminent death when they're discovered, but I doubt it. And I brought mine out in the Gazelle, or the Gazella, just for speed around the map. Speed of the Gazelle, of course, 310 kilometers. So if you point it halfway up the map, you can be fairly sure that you're going to get there before any of the Blue 4 units. Another interesting thing to note quickly about the Yugoslavians is they have got a few Blue 4 units or variants of Blue 4 units in their deck, which makes them interesting, as does the Finland nation as well, even though they are, of course, Red 4. Few other standard trucks you can bring your infantry squads in. You want something nice and cheap, we've got the Pinsgauer, and then we've got a few with machine guns and auto cannons up here as well. We've got this interesting one, the OTM60PB, with this BSTM60A. I don't know how good that's going to be, but it has got a range of 1,400, and yeah, you'll see these trucks come up in the infantry tab as well. Quite an interesting little unit there. So I've taken the infantry. Now I've also taken the tank command, the big tank command, the M84AK. Actually got a really nice gun on it, and well, if you get into difficulties, could be used as a tank in its own right, I guess, with an AP power of 19 and an accuracy and stabilizer of over 60% and over. So pretty nice. I've also got the T55 command tank, but I think that you might as well just spend the extra, and if you're in a long game you can bring this out. Got some there's also some trucks, of course. We've got the ubiquitous Jeep, which actually has a speed of 120, which is very, very fast, and then the BRDM variant for the command as well, with a speed of 80 kilometers, which is pretty decent as well. If you want a little bit of armor, you might want to go for that one over the Jeep. If you want availability, you might want to go for the Jeep. If you want something that can sustain heavy bombardment, you might want to go for a tank. And for flexibility, of course, you go for the commands, infantry commands, probably in the chopper. As far as logistics are concerned, pretty much standard stuff. You've got two types of logistics truck. You've got the let's just pin that one real quick. Got that one as well. You've got the FAP 2026 and the FAP 2832. I always go for the one with the most supply, so it's the FAP 2832A for me, because I don't like to micro my units around too much, and I think you get a little bit more supply for what you pay for as well. I've bought a fob, of course, and then I've taken the only chopper that's available in the logistics tab, and that's the HT40 Teretny. Moving on to the infantry, the Yugoslavs, strong infantry, pretty damn strong infantry, and some really nice ones. We'll start off with what I took first, which is their kind of down here. Where is it? Here we are. Their commando type elite unit, the Padobranski. Really nice, well, pretty nice ATGM, nice close quarters combat machine guns, squad of 10, you know, the usual stuff. A nice commando unit there, and I bought mine in this OT. Let's just get that one up in this OT tab, just to get it around and about the map. Really nice unit. Now they've got some ATGM infantry as well. They've got two. They've got this drug, and they've also got the faggots. And the faggots and the Malyutkas come up a lot in this deck. It's pretty much their only ATGM, and they do lack in ATGMs. Definitely go for the drug. I think it's got decent range, but it's the accuracy of 50% and the AP power of 20, which does it for me, just for an extra 5 points. Comes in again a nice variety of vehicles, and I bought mine in this time in the BVP M81V, which is an interesting looking unit for 20 points. It's not the cheapest, but you've got the Malyutkas. Not the best, but they'll have to do, because that's the best that the Yugoslavs have got. But it's got a nice autocannon there that can shoot at helicopters and give a bit of ground support as well, and a nice machine gun tagged on to the end there. So some nice ATGMs. And then for my standard kind of infantry, I say standard, they are actually shock trained. I've gone for the Proletary and the Proletary 90. I've gone for one of each in this particular deck, the first deck that I've built for Yugoslavia. The Proletary, strength of 10, close quarters combat machine gun. The difference between the Proletary and the Proletary 90 really is in there. Proletary 90's upgraded a rocket launcher. Oops, sorry. The upgraded Proletary 90's rocket launcher with an AP of 24. So I've got these in for a bit of flexibility. If we're going for attacking infantry, we can use a Proletary, taking buildings, etc. If we think there's going to be tanks, like vehicles and stuff around, then we can use perhaps the Proletary 90. Or shove them through some forests or something. But again, nice selection of vehicles to go with those. And I brought my Proletarians, the standard Proletaries, in the queue, these guys, with this interesting looking gun in the center there with the heat rounds. And also I've got my Proletary 90s in the upgrade, in the very nice BVP M. It's got 3 front armor as well, of course, and is amphibious, so I can get those around the maps. And for my manpads, I've taken, there's 2 manpads to choose from really. You've got the Strelas and the Silos. Take the Silos all day really. Much better accuracy, well, not much better, 5% better accuracy. They're just, and a longer range, which is really, does the job. For 5 point extra, got to take those. And I bought mine in, what have I bought mine in those BVPMs again. Gives us a little bit of extra support, a little bit of extra firepower on and around the map, despite being perhaps a little bit, I've maybe gone a little bit expensive on my trucks, but we'll stick with what we've got for now for the first couple of games that I play. So that's the infantry that I've chosen. There's a few others. We've got these, I won't even try to pronounce that, these line infantry. If you wanted some line infantry, you get a lot of them, so you're not going to run out anytime soon if you choose those. And then we've got these guys down here, the Mornarinsky Pez, which are shock trained as well, if you wanted to take those. Pretty nice ATGM in there, and a close quarters combat machine gun as well. But I just went for the Proletaries in this case, and I think that's about it for the infantry tab. So moving on to support. Now, I think that as far as the Yugoslavs are concerned, they've got really, really nice anti-air weapons and quite poor artillery. So let's have a look at the anti-air weapons first of all. Just click those off real quick. So the first unit I chose was this thing, and this thing looks awesome for 40 points. It's only got 2 missiles, which is its only down point really, but you can take along one of those supply trucks with it, keep it supplied, and this will fire fast and it will fire a lot, keep back any chopper pushes. And you do get quite a lot of them. You get 12 trained or 8 hardened, which is quite a lot, and only 40 points. Very, very nice unit, I think, with a range of over 3,000 against helicopters. Nice unit, and pretty fast on the road as well. And then we've got a couple of, a very interesting and what is probably going to be a quite controversial unit, the RSPVO Never MIT, 120 points. So I think that's about the same as a Patriot, but it's got 2 more missiles than the Patriot, although the range is slightly less at 4,550. But what pulls this apart from the Patriot is that it's not radar guided, which is unusual and both unusual and quite strange at the same time for an anti-aircraft platform to have a range like that with and is not radar guided. That is going to be probably quite an awesome unit, especially on spammy maps. Perhaps not so useful for 1v1s, 2v2s and stuff because of the cost of bringing it in the game. But for spammy games, this is going to be an absolutely deadly unit. Now, to go alongside this, I have actually got the did I get it? Yeah, I got it there, I think. Yeah, I got the radar variant as well. The reason I got that is that for the non-radar variant, you don't get that many. Let's just check how many was it. You only get 2, so not a lot, or 1 if you want it at veteran. Whereas for the radar variant, which is exactly the same except it's radar, which again seems a little bit strange. They've done something a bit odd there. You do have to micro it, but you need that as well probably because you get 5 trained or 4 hardened, and if your 2 non-radars get taken out, then you're going to be in a little bit of trouble against planes in the game. Now, as far as a kind of another anti-helicopter type weapon is concerned, this thing looks absolutely awesome. The RSPVO M90 Sava, 2,800 meter range against helicopters, but it has an accuracy of 60% and more importantly a stabilizer of 60% as well. It's going to fire really fast and it's got 12 missiles. This thing is going to be deadly against chopper pushes, I think. Yeah, a really nice unit and probably a must-have in your deck with that really nice range of 2,800, not radar or anything either. Now then, there's a few other guns. There's and they're not too shabby either if you wanted to take these. There's some nice anti-air guns down here. I'll just flick through them quickly. The Spats, and also, well, they're all called Spats, just upgraded version. The last one is a radar guided one though, just there. All got 2,600 or 2,400 range. Not too shabby, but for me, it's got to be the... oh, we've got Strellas as well. Did I miss those? Oh, no, this is the upgraded Strela, isn't it? Yeah, the RSVPO. I'd definitely take that one. It is quite expensive if you're in kind of maybe a 1v1 or 2v2 to bring out at the start of the game. You could bring one of the lesser ones, I suppose. This one's still got an accuracy and stabilizer of 50%, but I'd definitely go for the 60 pointer because I tend to play more spammy games more of the time. Anyway, I'm babbling a little bit there, so let's move on to the artillery, which I don't think is amazing apart from one unit, and it's the one unit I have taken. Where is it? This one. I don't know if it's going to be any good. The SVLR M94 Plamen S. HE power of 8. Rocket launcher, as you can see, an MLRS type weapon. It's pretty standard, but it fires smoke as well. So a smoking MLRS, so it looks pretty awesome. Now, as far as I know, also it doesn't fire all its 64 missiles off at once or even in 2 salvos, but I believe it fires them 16 at a time and fires them fairly rapidly. And with an HE power of 8, if it hits something, it's infantry. It's likely to kill infantry. So I think that's a really nice weapon there for 90 points, and I'm going to look forward to testing that out in the game, seeing exactly how that plays out. Now, apart from that, we've got some other MLRS for the Yugoslavs. We have got an AP launcher, which fires cluster munitions, which is kind of a little bit like a Smersh. Nice long range, AP power of 7. So if you want an AP launcher, that's in the deck as well. And then if you want another HE launcher, then it's only got an HE power of 1 this though. It's a napalm launcher. HE power of 1 though isn't going to do a lot of damage. So I'm leaving this one alone for now. We'll see. We maybe put that one in one of our decks later on. As far as the tube artillery is concerned, not too good. We've got the Gavoiskas here, which are just terrible. And then we've got these things, the Nora Bs, which... well, not sure how good these are going to be. Doesn't look amazing, to be honest. Yeah, I think the version on that one is just to try it out in game and see how quickly it fires, really. So, but it's 120 points. It's quite expensive, so I'm hoping it'll be quite good. Mortar-wise, now I do like my mortars, although I haven't got any in this deck. We've got the standard one there, the SM82, just a standard mortar, as you've come across many times before. But then we've got this one, the SO104 Brist, which is, I think there is a variant of this in the Redford, one of the Redford decks already. I can't remember which nation's got this, but fires fairly quickly. It's got an HE power of 2, but the main thing is it's got a much longer range, of course, so you can keep it back behind your lines a little bit. Moving on to the tanks. And the tanks are, well, I will say a strong point of the Yugoslavians and kind of a weak point at the same time. They're strong because all their accuracies and their AP powers, and they've got good stabilizers, excellent. Armor though, a little bit down when compared to the other nations. If we have a look at their big heavy first of all, which I've taken in my deck, you can get 1 at vet or 2 at trained. This has good armor, not the best in the game, but pretty good armor, 4 top as well. But the main thing is, look at the accuracy on that, 70% accuracy and a 62% stabilizer with an AP power of 22. A nice tank, very nice tank. Not the best in the game, but very nice. And then to complement that, we've got the M90 Vihor. And if we just compare these two, so the M91 Vihor, which is one of the one downgrade from the 91A, has got pretty much the same gun. Is it exactly the same gun? It is. It looks like it's exactly the same gun. Yes, looks like the stats are exactly the same, but it's just got less armor. So those two should complement each other quite nicely if you're able to do that in game. Now, apart from that, pretty standard tanks. Now I have taken a 95% point tank, which is this one down here, the M84A, and these are kind of T72 variants along the bottom here, which is the next best tank you can get. Again, it's got a good accuracy, a good stabilizer, good AP power. Let down a little bit perhaps by its armor, but it's only 95. I say only, it's 95 points. So pretty much on the button, on the money for the money that you have to pay. I've also gone for the M84. This was one of the last units I chose for this particular deck, just to fill out the deck really. Nothing amazing in the, well, nothing amazing, but it's 75 points. It's quite expensive for a tank with that amount of armor, although again you're paying for the accuracy at 60%, I suppose. Apart from that, I've got this where is it, this interesting unit here, the T55-1A Igman, 40 points, poor-ish armor, but it's only 40 points and you get 4 Malyutkas. I know the Malyutkas aren't great, but you get 4 Malyutkas. I mean, you know, and a gun. Nothing too shabby. Again, not the best in the world. I got them, did I get them hardened? Yeah, I got them hardened just to try to increase the accuracy a little bit of those Malyutkas. Apart from that, got some shitty T34s, some shitty patterns, which probably not many people would take. The PT-2076B, a nice spammy kind of tankette, should I say. And then they've got some more T55s that you could choose if you wanted. Moving on though to the Reconnaissance. Reconnaissance got some good units and some not so good units. It's kind of an average Reconnaissance, I suppose, for the Yugoslavs. Now the first one I went for was a chopper. There's 2 choppers. There's this one and you've got one with a little rocket pod. I went for the one with a rocket pod because it's only 30 points. It's still got good optics and not the best at spotting, and of course they've only got a strength of 4, but it's got a little rocket pod and it's only 30 points, whereas the upgraded one's 50 points. It's got very good optics. But they've both got good speed. They've both got 310 kilometers, and you get a lot of these Hera 2s. So, yeah, I took the Hera 2 just because of the cost, really, more than anything. We'll see how that plays out. And then I've got the Commando Recon, the Schenkas, which look pretty damn good. And they've got this really interesting RT-70, which fires AP rounds, and with an accuracy as well of 95%. It can also shoot at helicopters as well. So this is going to be a really interesting unit to get up behind enemy lines and harass the enemy with. And I'm really looking forward to trying this unit out in the game. The Schenker comes in a variety. I've got mine just in pin scale just for cheapness. I maybe should have taken him in gazelles. In fact, I've only spent 52 points. I've just noticed, so we're going to take some in gazelles as... Oh, I can't because you can only get one set of Schenkers. Okay, I've just noticed I've only spent 52 of my 60 points. So we'll have to grab something else real quick. Probably in the plain stab at the end. But the Schenkers look really, really nice. And they're only 25 points. I just wonder how good they are going to be in game. Time will tell. Next, I've got the command... Sorry, not the command. The Recon tank, which looks pretty awesome. It's got a pretty nice gun, as have all of the Yugoslavian tanks. Armour's not too shabby either. I mean, it's got 15 front armour for a recon tank. So yeah, that looks pretty nice to move along with our tanks if we're going to do a tank push. And then I've bought some standard jeeps as well, just so that we can hide them around the map and keep an eye on what the enemy's doing. There's a few others. You've got your standard infantry recon here. Very standard if you wanted to spam out a load of recon, stick them into places where they can't be seen. We've got some trucks as well. I'll flick through them really briefly. We've got the BRDM2 actually. Oh, I missed that. Yeah, I definitely want to take that. So we'll stick that in. We've got another 5 points left, yeah, so we can get some more planes. But we'll definitely take the BRDM2. Only 10 points? Really? Actually, that's a must then. I didn't realise that's only 10 points. Wow, okay, maybe they'll change that, I'm not sure. And then we've got some couple of more expensive ones. This one's got that awesome autocannon and the Malyutkas. But do you want to be fighting with your recon units on the front line? Probably not. So although this has got nice weaponry, it's probably better off spending those points elsewhere. So that's pretty much it. That's all the units for the recon. Moving on to the vehicles. Vehicles for the Yugoslavs are very, very poor, in my opinion. Except this unusual looking weapon which I've put in the deck to try out. It is an armor car with rocket pods, and one of those rocket pods fires napalm. So I have no idea what this unit's going to do, but I've definitely put it in my deck. I've got 19 of them, so I can hopefully spray that napalm around. I don't know how big a blob of napalm it will put out. Probably not that big. We'll have to wait and see. HE power is only 1 as well, so it doesn't look that effective, but we'll have to see what happens in game. So rocket pod, armoured cars in the vehicles tab. Yeah, you heard it here first, or maybe second or third, I'm not sure. But anyway, all the rest kind of Malyutkas. We've got the drug, but unfortunately it's on a really crappy Jeep, so that's kind of what put me off getting the drug. Yeah, so, and everything else is kind of... We've got some auto cannons there, which could help maybe for base defense against helicopters if you want something cheap, and then some cheap tankettes as well at the end for just 10 points. I mean, they're only 10 points. This one's actually got an accuracy of 50%, which isn't too bad. So that, yeah, maybe they'd have a use for only 10 points. I mean, they're so cheap, almost just throwaway units, and this one especially looks, yeah, not too bad. Anyway, we might come back and grab one of those at the end with our extra 5 points. But moving on to the helicopters. Helicopters again, poor for the Yugoslavs. I've taken this, the Gamma 2. There is another variant, the Gamma 1, but the range and the accuracy on the Strela really puts me off that. For 10 points more, we can get a much better range and a much better accuracy and a better stabilizer. Well, it goes without saying, a better stabilizer for the Gamma 2. So I've taken the Gamma 2. There's also a couple of other choppers, but they just don't look any good. Rocket pods. There's one, that's the best kind of, yeah, all-rounder that you're going to get. 45 points. Again, those 4 Malyutkas with an accuracy of 40%. Rocket pod. Are they going to do much damage? You know, three of the Malyutkas miss. You just wasted 45 points. I don't know. We'll see if we've got points left after we look to the air. But really, just the Gamma 2s for me in the helicopter tab. Air-wise, a couple of really interesting ones to look at first. The rest are pretty standard, but the interesting ones we've got are the J-22B Oreo 2. This is your ATGM weapon and can also be used for sniping anti-air as well. It's got the Mavericks, not the longest range, 3,150, and the accuracy is only 40. So I've actually got mine in 2 as 2 elites rather than getting 4 trained. But it's also got rocket pods as well to shoot with. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. ECM's 30%, speed of 900. So we'll see how that one plays out. But that's your ATGM plane, basically. And then the best of the air superiority fighters is this one, the L-19 for 160 points, with 4 of these Mika-EM missiles with decent accuracy and stabilizer, and some kind of medium range Vimpires as well. The rest of the planes, don't shout out at me. There's no seed. There's no seed for Yugoslavia. If you want seed, you have to do the coalition deck. There is a coalition deck for Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia, by the way. And there is a seed played for Czechoslovakia. Not a brilliant one, but there is one that they're bringing into the new DLC. But as far as other planes, let's have a look at the air superiority. I mean, really you could do with maybe another air superiority fighter, but the next best one's this thing. Just 2 Vimpar missiles. They've got a range of 8,400. I might just take that because I've got the extra points actually. I'll just stick that one in. But the rest of them, maybe got 90 points there, but it just looks really average. ECM's only 20. And then the L12, only 50, but only good for shooting down choppers, really, let's face it. But a nice, well, actually, it's actually got too fast to take down choppers, 1,000 kms. But yeah, okay, nothing there really screams at me, to be honest. Anti-tank, we've also got this thing with 2 rocket pods, and that looks quite interesting. And hang on a minute, that fires napalm. Ooh, this one is a plane that fires napalm. Okay, let's get rid of that. We'll have that. We want to test that out. ECM's 0, so yeah, a bit dangerous, but it fires napalm. We've got to give it a go, haven't we? Let's face it. And we've got the Grad 2 out already. Bomber-wise, there is a fair selection of bombers, which aren't too bad, I suppose. We've got the HE bomber there. We've got this cluster bomber, if you want a cluster bomber. Again, the ECM letting them down just a little bit, but they're not that expensive. We've got one here with HE and cluster bombs for 75 points, 20% ECM. Well, that doesn't look too bad, I suppose. And then we've got the napalm bomber at the end there. And finally, we've got multi-role, which is this one, which has got a really odd rocket pod slung underneath the plane. I'm not sure about that at all. I won't put it in this deck. I might try it out in one of the other decks, maybe. And then we've got the Super Galeb, which doesn't look too brilliant. Oh, actually, hold on a minute. Is this the Gromby? Yeah, we'll leave that one, I think. It's got a 30 AP power. Actually, ECM 30%, speed 900. That doesn't look too bad, actually. What do I need? I need an extra 2 points to grab that. Did I... What did I get in the vehicles tab? Tanks. We'll leave that. Now, we'll leave that for now, but it's there if you want it. And what I will do, though, is I'll take tank. I'm going to take... Where was it? I could take some extra fast support for 2 points. We'll just take these drugs. BRDM with Malyutkas. My God, you get 24 trained. Jesus. How many of these things do you get then? 24. Oh, let's just get some BRDMs, Malyutkas. It's pretty terrible, but we need to spend all our points, and that's pretty much it. That's the Yugoslavian deck build, and a good look at the Yugoslavian units. I may change a few things before I start playing with this deck, but it gives you a good overview. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do comment, like, subscribe, and let me know what you think about the Yugoslavian units. If there's any that I've missed you think I should put in, if there's any that I put in you think, oh my God, what a waste of time, take them out immediately, then just let me know. We've taken a few games, hopefully, using this deck. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.